first vlog for like a very long time of thinking about going into YouTube, and I would like this to be something that is meaningful and many people can relate to. So to start with, I've been reading this book of entitled A Subtle Art of Not Giving that four-letter word that is used for something about caring, and also something that can be used in bed. So I'm not going to say that for some reasons. But this book is really good in a sense that it has taught me a lot about things that I cannot handle and I cannot keep, because there are things that really happens in your life, but what you can do is to just cope up with it and learn from it, and at the same time use it as a tool for improvement. Technically, that's what I've learned from that, because that has been a major definition of what I've been doing wrong this entire time. Like, it's early. It's better to notice that earlier in life. Like in my case, I'm like 22 years old, but I've gone through a lot of hurdles in life. I would like to use those types of hurdles to not define me as a failure, but to use it as something that is a tool of improvement for myself, and that I can look back on it in a way that it is worth it. What happened with me is worth it, and love it. Love what misfortunes and mishaps have happened with me, and there's a lot, especially with me being gay, because yes, it is not that difficult to live in a society like the Philippines, wherein being gay is like sort of accepted, tolerated. Our families don't hate us that much, but there are people here in the Philippines who still have difficulties with their families, but not like me. But I've been through a lot, before achieving this kind of level of acceptance from my family. But it's really cool that I get to be myself, and at the same time being conscious about what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right, and that everything that I've done wrong always revolves to the idea of me being gay, being part of the LGBT community, because that is something that is not to be dismissed. And all throughout the world, it is a very rampant issue that still in other countries you cannot be yourself. You cannot go to work and be yourself as a gay person, as a person of the community. And I'm really grateful, but in a sense that I've overcome those hurdles in my life, like the failures that I've received in the past. But I've learned that it's not just about my sexuality, but also about my personality as well, what I lack as a person. And that's a really good read for you guys. So I advise you to read that book. Now, going back to my recent issue, or the one that I've talked about, which is about being gay, being LGBT here in the Philippines. It's getting there, I've seen a lot of gay people in the streets fighting for our rights. There are also numerous cases of couples getting married and also couples getting abroad, starting a family, and also locally, a lot of people who like have their children being gay, have their family, and they're happy. And there's nothing wrong with that. Being gay is not a sin. And being who you are is not a sin. Because if you're going to focus on that, if you're going to focus on you being a misplacement in this world, being a sin, well, plus fact for you. Because every single day, a gay person is being born. And it's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. Being gay, growing up being gay, realizing you're gay at a very late age or earlier, younger, doesn't mean that you realize yourself as a sin for being wrong. Because there is nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with everyone in this world, regardless of gender and gender preference. And I would like that to be expressed in this video, because that is what is wrong with the society that we live in. We always see the fault in every people. We always see the fault in ourselves. And yes, including myself, because I always see fault in myself. And sometimes it is detrimental, you know. And I think we should like regulate it. I don't say that we should stop, but we should regulate it, because we should like use those kinds of reflection, realization to improve ourselves and to make ourselves better, and not for the worsening of things like being anorexic or being bulimic because you like look too fat, you like so thin. Like for the past few years, you've been labeled by people as thin, as fat, as white, as black. Your nipples are dark, your nipples are pink, whatever. But you know, it's okay to realize those flaws, those faults, those mistakes in your life, and those that have been pointed out to you. But not to a point of being succumbed into that kind of mindset, because it also is detrimental. Rather, I would like you to go into the journey that I'm going through right now. Realization of what has happened in my life and what has happened recently that made me a better person, and that being yourself is okay, and being average is okay. Not being an overachiever, not being at the either end of the spectrum, not being at the top of the bell curve and not being at the bottom of the bell curve, but being average is okay. Because some people want to be an average, believe it or not. And like, you know, there's a lot of movies out there talking about being average, you know. People at the top of the bell curve wanting to be average. People at the bottom of the bell curve, like depressed people, trying to be average. And we just need to be grateful, you know. In whatever position of the bell curve we may be into, we may be the topmost, the top-notchers, the most prominent people in the world. You may be looking on social media and see that this guy is an overachiever, this guy is depressed, he's so awful. But you know what? That person and that person that you're looking, and you yourself, just needs to be grateful with what they have, with what we have, and acknowledge the fact that we're in this situation probably the one that is in the bottom of the bell curve, needs to improve something about himself, and also that on the top, and you on the average. We all tend to improve ourselves, and what we need to do is to acknowledge what we have, what we've been through, what we lack as a person, and what we gave too much. Yes. We may be seeing a sense of improvement when we realize that we lack on something, but also we need to realize that we need to improve ourselves to a point where we should realize if we give too much to something, to someone, and not leaving something for ourselves and for the people who really do value us. So that's what I've realized this past few days. This video is about reflection, and it's totally fine if you can relate to this, if you cannot relate to this. But yeah, I would like to start my channel with this kind of one-on-one talk with my audience, to whoever audience this may serve. But yes, I've watched a lot of videos, movies, explicit videos, explicit movies, that I've picked a lot of values from. Like, I've seen situations across the world that is very depressing, but then they are happy with what they have. I've seen situations across the world where they're having everything they want, they're at the top of their game, but then nothing seems to work out for them. Nothing seems to make them happy. And, that is very ironic. Specifically, going back to the issue of the LGBT community, and this is not to be optimistic in a way, because we still need to fight for our rights, and the people need to acknowledge that we have rights. But in a way, for some people, not to be stressed and overthought of the fact that they are miserable because of them being gay, and they should just realize that it's not just being gay that matters, it's being you as a person in general, that you can improve into some areas of your life and be gay and be closeted. Being closeted is totally fine. Nothing should be pushed down your throat, decisions wise. It's up to you if you're going out of the closet. It's up to you if you won't come out of the closet, but you're gay. You're part of the LGBT community, and that is fine. But do not put yourself in a situation like me, and I advise you that, wherein you blame every misfortunes in your life, like not being able to receive this kind of thing, not being able to achieve this kind of thing because of my sexuality, because of my sexual preference. But rather, look into other aspects in your life that needs improvement. And in that manner, you can move on without a heavy heart and be who you are regardless if you're out of the closet or in the closet, because it doesn't matter nowadays, you know. Some people, and most of the people, should not be burdened whether they need to come out or not. It is not that issue anymore. What the world needs now, what the LGBT community in the world needs now, is to realize that they are valid, we are valid, I am valid, and we just need to be who we are, regardless of being out or in of something. And in a way, you're going to inspire others who's like you, probably, who's like me, probably, that is out of the closet or that is in the closet. And in a way, you're helping the community in general. So don't pressure yourself. Let us not pressure ourselves. Let's just be ourselves. Let's just be ourselves for everyone who is like us.